What's up, everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. Jared Sandler with you, getting ready for opening day. Thursday is the start of the Major League Baseball season. Friday is the start of the Texas Rangers season as they host the Colorado Rockies. And in case you're really starving for some baseball, they actually host the Rockies Tuesday and Wednesday. That's tomorrow and Wednesday for some exhibition games. And well, those games will be carried on 105.3 The Fan, as will Friday's season opener and the entirety of the 2020 season. So, in preparation for opening day, we're going to have a week filled with baseball stuff. Be sure to look out for a conversation with Emily Jones that will release on this channel today, as well as conversations with Eric Nadel and CJ Nitkowski coming up this week. But right now, I want to give you the 5 things that I think need to happen for the Rangers to win the division. We know how wide open a 60-game season is. As a matter of fact, the Rockies, who come to town to kick off the year for the Rangers, lost 90 games last year, but over a 60-game stretch, they went 37-23 at one point. Now, it wasn't the first 60 games to start the season, but it just goes to show even a team that lost as much as they did was able to win 37 games. And I think 37 games over a 60-game stretch could be the best record in the league. You don't need to win 37 necessarily to make the playoffs and perhaps not to win the division. But it's wide open. And I think we all probably understand that at least based on the court of public opinion, the Rangers are not a favorite to make the playoffs or win the division, but it's definitely possible. All it takes is the right winning streak at some point, and any team really is going to be a candidate. But I wanted to give you the 5 things I think that need to happen for the Rangers to win the division. And I understand this isn't necessarily, like I mentioned earlier, a strong likelihood, but let's talk about it. Now, the AL West is really tough. I know a lot of people like to give the Angels a hard time because they swing big in free agency and then it seems like their season is a swing and a miss thereafter. But their lineup is really, really good. All right, the trio of Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani. And let's not forget, Justin Upton's not chopped liver, by any means. Albert Pujols might be, but Justin Upton certainly isn't. And then they've got, a decent supporting group around them, especially if Andrelton Simmons can hit the way he did a few years ago. And then, their rotation is interesting because I don't know what you're going to get out of Ohtani. Andrew Heaney needs to stay healthy, but, they could be all right. That's not a bad team. And then the Astros and the A's are both really good. So winning the division is going to be no easy task, but here are the 5 things that I think are most important, and in no particular order. The first thing involves the part of the team everyone's talking about, and that's the rotation. Lynn, Minor, Kluber. That's the big 3. All right, Gibson and Lyles present awesome depth, but the big 3, Lynn, Minor, and Kluber. I think 2 of those 3 pitchers need to be studs. They don't need to win the Cy Young. Last year, Minor and Lynn were both, certainly in the Cy Young conversation. I don't know that any of us thought, well, no, they're going to win it, but we all knew that they were going to get votes and be, a part of the rankings. I think that Kluber, Minor, Lynn, 2 of those 3 need to be top 8 in the AL Cy Young voting. Now, the third one, we don't need him to just totally disappear, but let's just play the odds. The chance of all 3 of those guys just being super studs, even though all 3 are capable, the odds aren't necessarily tremendous. It's just it doesn't always work out that way. Maybe one person takes a step back, or maybe Corey Kluber's age is catching up. There are questions. There are fair questions with each of them, but 2 out of 3. I think if they can finish top 8 in the AL Cy Young, that puts the Rangers in a tremendous spot. And I might say that alone would make me confident enough to believe the Rangers are in a wild card race until the final week of the season. I don't know that alone guarantees that they make the playoffs, but I think it guarantees that final week they're in a wild card race. Rougned Odor. There are questions with this lineup. Joey Gallo has the ability to be an absolute superstar. We think that Willie Calhoun can be an absolute stud hitter. We need to see it over, an extended stretch. There's a guy on this team that in each of the last couple years has put together a 4 to 6 week stretch where he was arguably the best at his position in the American League. The problem is not his ability to do that, it's what surrounds that. Rougned Odor has the ability to help carry this lineup. I don't need Rugi to be the best second baseman in the AL over the 60-game stretch, but I need Rugi to be a really good player. I need Rugi to not give us the first 2 months of last year, and I need Rugi to be better than just league average. If the Rangers win the division, I don't think we're talking about Rugi as one of the worst players in baseball. I don't think we're talking about Rugi even as, hey, he was okay. He was average. I think we're talking about Rugi as a guy who really had a good year. Doesn't need to be the best second baseman. Doesn't need to be in MVP conversations. But I think we need to talk about him as having a really good year. And then that takes me to Joey. We need Joey to stay healthy. And that's a generic comment because you need health from as many people as possible. But I bring Joey's health up for 2 reasons. One, he's a big body, and big bodies can be more susceptible to injury. And that's what ended his season last year. Not necessarily just the fact he was a big body, although the groin injury did take him out for a little bit. He also had the hamate bone. But, he missed half the season. And he's young, and let's not make this a trend. And the second part of that is me suggesting that I don't have concerns that a healthy Joey can't carry a lineup. Some people last year were wondering, because as Joey got hurt, he was slipping a little bit. Well, wait a second. Was he going to end up being a 220 hitter? If he ended up playing 140 games? Were his numbers trending back to where, people had seen them previously? Or had he kept playing and stayed healthy, would he have, ended up with the numbers that made him an all-star? That's what I think would have happened. I think Joey's ability to significantly limit the chase and go from being one of the worst to top third of Major League Baseball and ability to lay off pitches out of the zone is a sustainable statistic that suggests Joey's success is real. So when I say Joey needs to stay healthy, yeah, of course you need your most dominant offensive player to stay healthy. But I'm telling you that while he doesn't have a 3-year track record of being an all-star, I think that's in the cards. Reason number 4, Jonathan Hernandez thrives out of the bullpen. I think in a 60-game season, a multi-inning threat like him becomes even more valuable. Because over a 162-game season, you might be a little cautious to put your foot on the pedal so often to use him in multiple innings because you don't want a young guy wearing out by July, August, September, whatever the case might be, or just render him useless come playoff time. Over a 60-game season, I think you could maximize that. There's a lot of potential for Jonathan Hernandez to provide this bullpen, which has a lot of question marks, some not just support, but some outstanding support. The guy is, can be a ground ball machine with a 98 to 100 mile an hour sinker. He's got a changeup and a slider to go along with it to get swings and misses. I just think that he can be a force out of the bullpen, and I think that they need that because, again, this bullpen has question marks. All right, number 5. This is going to focus outside the walls of the Rangers. I think the Rangers can be better than the Angels. I think that's a toss-up, frankly, if you compare rosters. I think the A's are really, really good. But I think the Rangers could match up well against the A's because I think the A's biggest challenge is the lack of a lefty presence in the lineup. Matt Olson is really their only strong lefty bat. And if you look at one potential weakness for the Rangers, especially out of the bullpen, is their left-handed action. So I think the Rangers could match well. They only go to Oakland once, by the way, too. But let's focus on the team that they're the incumbents. All right, as much as I think Oakland's really good, the team to beat, I guess, still is the team that has been winning this division, and that's the Houston Astros. I think the Astros are vulnerable on the mound. I think they lack depth in the bullpen, and I think they lack depth in their rotation. Justin Verlander dealt with an injury in spring training. It appears he's going to be ready for the regular season, but I think it's fair to wonder about his arm. But then after that, Josh James, Jose Urquidy, Framber Valdez. What are they going to get out of their rotation? I think they are vulnerable on the mound, and I think that vulnerability needs to be realized, and that will play a huge role in the Rangers winning the division. So those are the 5 things I think need to happen for not the Rangers to make the playoffs, but for the Rangers to win the AL West. We'd love to know what you think. It's going to be a fun season, a fun 60-game sprint to follow. I can't wait for opening day on Friday. Hope you're excited as well. And let's talk some Rangers baseball this week. Again, conversations with Emily Jones, CJ Nikowski, Eric Nadel, plus more baseball commentary. And, of course, our nightly recaps, which you can also catch the very next morning. 90-second recaps just to keep you up to speed with what's going on in Rangers land. Be sure to watch out for those. Hope you have a great start to your week. We'll talk soon.